This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Red Side of the Trent as Forest fail to pop the Cherries, running out 5-0 losers on the day, unfortunately, ending our 9-game run. Joined by Reese Lane and Lee Clark, no Christian Brown today to go through some of the action, although we are going to probably try and make it swift and painless because it was horrible for all of us. Lee, how are you first of all?
Yeah, very good, thank you, apart from the result.
Yeah, well, and your camera not working for the YouTube.
And my camera not working, yeah, which is always good on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, definitely. Reese, obviously, long journey for yourself. Was it as bad as it could have got?
Oh, it could have got worse in the end, but yeah, not the best day at the office. But we've had plenty of good ones, haven't we, this season? So as an away fan, you take the rough with the smooth, don't you? Sometimes, you know, me and you went up to Liverpool, didn't we? Had them really on a whim, and we had a memorable day that day. So it's part and parcel of being a football fan, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is right, and I think it is. It's easy to forget the good season we've had after you had such an absolute stinking result like we did yesterday. But we will get into it, and we'll kind of skim over what happened and talk more about the bigger picture. But Lee, first of all, the team come out. Callum Hudson-Odoi was a doubt before, wasn't included in the squad at all. Jota Silva replaced him to go on the right hand side, and Elanga switched over to the left. And Ryan Yates replaced Nico Dominguez. What did you make of the team, first of all? And in hindsight, do you think Nuno maybe got it wrong? And do you think there could have been any different change or what?
I do totally get why he went with that team. I think we've said before that there's certain games that suit certain players. Yesterday probably was the sort of game where Nuno will have felt Yates could have made more of an impact than Dominguez. I don't think that's... I tended to agree with kind of what Christian said in our group. I thought Yates' performance probably when he came off the bench, as with the other subs, not just digging Yates out with that, all the subs against Southampton were pretty poor. So for two of those to kind of keep their place was a little bit strange. But on the basis that we sat third in the league and Ryan Yates has played a lot of football this year, then it's not quite so strange when you look at the bigger picture with it. So, yeah, I mean, I prefer Dominguez. That's no secret. I just think he offers a little bit more in a technical sense. I think in a game like yesterday where both teams kind of play similar sort of styles, don't they? They've kind of been lauded for playing this counter-attacking football, and it's quick and it's fast and it's one end of the pitch to the other. So, yeah, I think I would have preferred a bit more of another ball player alongside Anderson. But, yeah, I totally get why you picked that team. As for Jota, I think, I don't know, I was kind of, I don't know if I went on the defensive because I really like Anthony Elanga earlier in the season, but I never really saw what everyone else was seeing in a sense for him to be starting games. I didn't really get I think he's much better as an impact player. Again, you get the usual comments of now all of a sudden he's not good enough. I'm not going to go all that way, but I think there's definitely a debate to be had whether Sosa should be getting his minutes if it comes to starting games at the moment. But again, going back to your original question, the team was one he picked, and I think it's one that has won us games this season. So, yeah, I totally get why he went with that setup.
Yeah, I mean, me and Reece spoke briefly just before we started that maybe it would have been a little bit better that Sosa started and then we don't have to rejig the whole team because you still keep Aina and Elanga together. We have lost Lee Clark briefly. We'll bring him back in a moment. Reece, what obviously the game started. We started off quite brightly actually. Alanga had an early chance, and then it kind of went downhill a little bit after that. I mean, we gave the ball away in a bit of a precarious spot in Bournemouth's half, and then one pass through the middle, and Justin Kluivert's running at us. And as we saw last week, when he got that opportunity against Newcastle, he will shoot and he can hit the target from there. And as we found out in our first season, it was very, very reminiscent of that. You can't give players in the Premier League a chance to shoot from the edge of the box, as Southampton found out last week against ourselves.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. I mean, from the away end, you didn't know whether to celebrate with the Alanga one because I think it hit the side netting, didn't you? The view's not the best at the vitality, but yeah, we just lose it cheaply, don't we? I think it was Yates once who lost it cheaply, but you know, I'm not gonna dig him out personally for that. I think there's a long, long way to go before it gets to the ball in the back of our net, and someone just has to close Kluivert's down. I said this. A goal we conceded earlier on in the season where at City away with, I think it was De Bruyne. You know, the problem is the ball. The first problem, you've got to close that down. And, you know, I think Jota's running back with Cherries, who's his man for the day. So, and the problem is there's a bit of confusion there between him and Aina of, do I pass him on to Aina or do I stay with my man? Well, Jota Silva, that's his man. So for me, Aina's got to come out and go to it. Or early doors, Jota's got to be saying to Aina, look, Cherries is going, I'm going to go across. Someone has just got to take responsibility there. And by the time, you know, even Kluivert's is probably, in the ground there, I knew what was going to happen. Kluivert's was even looking round like, is no one going to come to me? And he thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to do what I did last week. And he just potted it, mate, like a snooker ball right into the bottom corner. And it was just so easy, and it was so obvious what was going to happen, and nobody took responsibility in that moment, and that's why it ended up in the back of the net. And like you say, Southampton saw it last week with Hudson-Odoi. We saw it countless times in the first season. And a player, I mean, he's in the form of his career, and he's just going to punish you. And yeah, no surprise to me, it found the bottom corner, no chance for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we did try and get back into it. I mean, Yates had a great effort from the edge of the box, which was really well saved by Kepa. Gives Whitehead a bit of a, I think he'd like that chance again where the ball gets headed down to him from Alanga and puts it just wide. But second halfly, we took Ryan Yates off for Nico Dominguez, which some people would have liked, some people wouldn't have liked, but it just went from bad to worse, it seemed, after a Milenkovic chance where we thought we might get back into it, because then Bournemouth score a little bit against run of play, you'd say, but on the grand scheme of things, it wasn't because of how the result ended up going. I mean, the second goal for them, I don't know what Jota's doing in terms of not just putting the ball out of play for a throw-in, gives a corner away, Bournemouth recycle it, and then Kluivert in for a great ball into Ouattara. And I mean, he leaps like Michael Jordan, to be honest, over Murillo.
Yeah, it's a good header, isn't it? It's just so avoidable. Like you say, it's just got to be cleared, hasn't it? You know, stop it at source, it doesn't happen, sort of thing. But we've seen that, like I said, I've already touched on it with Jota. I think he kind of, I don't know, I feel like he's just a little bit erratic. I think he's a bit panicky, isn't he? I don't know. He just perhaps doesn't read the game quite like I suppose he reads the game defensively like an attacker, doesn't he? Let's face it. So, I mean, not too much of a criticism for that. But, yeah, just another avoidable goal that kind of summed up our afternoon, really, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got lucky because Murillo went off and Bournemouth pretty much scored again from kickoff, only for it to be disallowed. And then Ouattara did score a second goal, Reece, and we championed Nico Dominguez a lot on this podcast, but I mean, he threw in a grenade of a performance when he come on because he gave away the ball, and then it's one ball. And Ouattara pots that as well. It was just a bad day at the office for everyone. I mean, we don't want to dig anyone out on this pod. I mean, I've seen someone say, "Let's not start the Yates game, blame game or anything." From 1 to 11, well, let's say 1 to 16, because if we made 5 subs, everyone was poor. The only one that could have was Alanga.
No, it wasn't anybody in particular's fault yesterday. I know people have their opinion on social media. It's a team effort yesterday, mate, and you know, they was all off it pretty much. You know, even I know you're saying Alanga was probably the standout, but what was he? 6 out of 10, maybe? It's not. If your best player's a 6 out of 10, and it's going to be a good day, is it? And that's, you know, no slight on Alanga because he's been brilliant recently. But I just saw it similar to probably the Arsenal game away and games we've been winning this season where I've said you're going at half time at 1-0 and it's about getting that second goal early doors, because if you get it, like we've seen it with us at Brentford, at Everton, it just takes the air out the other side. And what Bournemouth have done, there was a tiny bit of a storm, wasn't it? Milenkovic obviously had the header, and they've got that second goal. And I mean, is it Dango who got the hat trick? I mean, he jumps so high for that second goal. It's quite ridiculous. But and he just gets over the top of Murillo, doesn't he? And then, to be honest, then I thought we lost discipline, and I thought we were quite rattled. Really, it was a bit like, I like my boxing analogies. So it's when you like been buzzed in a fight and you're on the ropes a little bit. And to be fair to Bournemouth, I'll give them credit. They smell blood, and they put together an absolute fabulous move, should I say. What obviously was offside, but it was some goal that, you know, little interchange of passing. And you kind of look in them from a Forest perspective, as Southampton did last week. Right, we've got away with that. It's 2-0. We get one back. We're in the game. And you're looking for that lift, and you know, and then Dominguez gives it away cheaply, and all of a sudden, you know, it's in the back of our net again. It was half-hearted from Murillo and Milenkovic as well. That's what I mean about us as discipline going. That's not happened all season. If you look at the challenges they both put in, they're both half-hearted, and in the blink of an eye, that little hope where you're thinking the offside goal is going to give you a kick up the backside, it's gone. And at 3-0 and them smelling blood and them playing well as they are, it could have probably been any score then, mate, to be honest. And it was no surprise to me personally that it did end up 5. Could have been more, to be honest. But thankfully it was only 5 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, the fourth was very unlike Matt Sells spilling a ball, because normally he's quite reliable with pushing the ball out, and then he drops that to Dango Ouattara, and I mean, fair play to the lad, a makeshift striker, and he's bagged a hat trick, and then the fifth is just like we've just gave up, and that's I think that's the disappointing thing, isn't it, Lee? That for the efforts and the endeavours this season, where you think it didn't look like the Forest of this season, did it? It was just it was like someone had taken it over, like a bit like the aliens in Space Jam, where we're just all useless. We've just lost all of our power almost.
Yeah, like you say, it's the mandatory requirement at professional level, isn't it? You should never throw the towel in. And I think a lot of what we've been good at this year has been built on this togetherness and the band of brothers sort of concept, that they're going to die for each other on the pitch. So, yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. But you know what? At 4-0 down, I get it. I do get it. It's a tough afternoon. You're getting peppered. You're getting battered. Possibly just reiterates that we've maybe not quite got enough leaders in that team. I get we've got the likes of Milenkovic, haven't we? And I guess Sells fits that category. But there is still a lot of youngsters in there that are kind of, still, learning the trade in men's football for the first time. And, look at someone like Alanga, for example, he's in his second full season playing regularly sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's, hopefully it's just a blip. I'm not too worried, I don't think. It was just a really bad day at the office, and hopefully we can just put a line under it. And we saw what happened last time we lost a game. So, I don't think there's any real need to be pressing the panic button just yet.
It was just like we've said, to what our usual standards are, there were just so many off days and just so many just silly mistakes. Sells has been brilliant for us this season. He completely made a hash of that. Dango is played on side by Morata, who's probably 2 or 3 yards behind the defensive line. Just these mistakes we've not been making, and then that even the fifth goal, Milenkovic is obviously jockeying Semenyo, and his legs are wide open, and that just would not happen if it was 0-0. that concentration levels and it just gone. We just in the end it just got a bit easy for them, and I think the lads probably just wanted to get off the pitch, to be honest. And this is one of the downsides of the Premier League, is that you very rarely have a midweek game. It's kind of like, you want to stew on it for a couple of days and thinking, right, we're at home Tuesday night or Wednesday night, we can go again. But we've obviously got to wait till Saturday. I guess the positive is we are the early kickoff, so we can kind of, hopefully shake this away. Because if we do beat Brighton on Saturday, this will be forgotten about, and then we can, have a good weekend and relax and see how the other teams do around us. But it was just, an off day yesterday. But Nuno, because of the standards we've set this season, it won't be acceptable, and I'm sure he'll kick him up the backside this week, and hopefully we can sort it out on Saturday.
I think the good thing about this group is, and I listened to the interview with Morgan Gibbs-White, and he's talking about, this was Colin Frey, I believe, and on the Shut Up and Show More football podcast, and he was saying, and Colin Frey asked him about what's his demeanour like in the dressing room, whether he gives him a dressing down or anything. I actually think this group amongst themselves would do that to each other. I think people like Milenkovic, Gibbs-White and Wood would say that these are not the standards of Forest this season, and will probably have a scrap amongst themselves before Nuno comes in with a bit of a calming influence and gets us going against Brighton. And I expect us to bounce back against them, because that's the characteristics we've shown this season, and the endeavour and the fight. I do think it was a real off day, and I give absolutely 100% credit to Bournemouth. They were the best side we've played this season. They were unbelievable. To say they've only got 11, 12 fit first team players, they played us off the park in every single department. I mean, the two centre-halves made Murillo look completely average, and we've been championing Murillo for 80 to 100 million since his new contract, which was only a couple of days ago. And they made him look like a £20 million player sort of thing in comparison. But we're not get too down on it, because it has still been an unbelievable season. Yeah,
and look, I'm just going to just quickly do a couple of examples of it does happen in this league. You have an off day at this level, you get proper punished. Like in the Championship, you might have an off day and you might get beat 3-0. At this day, because of the quality is so good, you have an off day. Look, I'm just looking at some results this season. Spurs went to Man City, beaten 4-0, and how bad have Spurs been this season? Newcastle last week, we're talking about the best probably striker in the league at the minute on form. The media was saying, Tonali, Bruno and Joel Linton's the best midfield, in the league. St James is this amazing fortress and he's got 50,000 roaring Geordies, blah, blah, blah. Bournemouth have gone there and done them 4-1 on the home pitch. So, and then let's, in Bournemouth's favour as well, they went to Leicester this season and got beat under Steve Cooper, who Leicester fans make out as the worst manager ever. So it happens in this league. And yesterday, unfortunately, it was a bad day, but hopefully we can write it off, and it might, because I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, aren't we? But it probably might spring Marinakis, etc., into action of getting a couple of bodies in to give Nuno that help to down the stretch. But we'll see.
Definitely. Do you want to come in on that at all?
No, not really. I tend to echo all of that Reece has just said. Really, it's just. Yeah, that's the Prem. That's what division we're in now, and it's. I don't know. I know it's not a good barometer, but I'm quite glad I wasn't around on social media or anything yesterday, because having a quick flick through this morning, it's the usual stuff. It's everyone's crap and everyone's rubbish, and we've fluked our way to third, and maybe we've been found out. We've been found out because we didn't turn up to a game at this level. We turned up. Maybe a little bit leggy, maybe a little bit. God, I sound like Eddie Howe saying we're tired. That's not what I'm saying, but I mean, it was just an off day. It was just one of them things that if you're not ready to compete, like Nuno said, if you're not ready to compete at this level, you're gonna get beat, and you're gonna get beat heavily. And Bournemouth are good. It's funny because in one breath everyone's raving about Bournemouth, and then they go and beat us, and it's, oh my God, we've lost 5-0 to Bournemouth. I can't believe it. Well, we didn't turn up. We showed them far too much respect, and they like Reece has just said, they smelt blood and picked us off. So, yeah, I'm not panicking. I think we've seen enough from this group of players. I mean, there's already the discussion, didn't they? Oh, such and such should come out, and someone should go in. it's a squad game. There's going to be changes in the team all season from here on in. So, yeah, let's just give them kind of the plaudits for the last, the little unbeaten run we've been on, and just park it and move on and try and go on another unbeaten run now. Yeah, just cheer up a bit, everyone. The league table still looks very nice to look at.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think someone reiterated online that the season Newcastle got to the top four and Leicester got relegated. Leicester beaten 4-0. Like Villa lost 5-1 last season to someone and got into the Champions League. And just because we lost 5-0 doesn't mean we lose extra points or anything. So, and yeah, it's just one of them. But we will move on. We'll get onto your slept on it thoughts.
Red side of the Trent. Slept on it thoughts.
You just have to bear with me. I've got a bit of a cold and I need to find Christian's as well. Oh my God. So Christian wrote, we lost that game before a ball was even kicked when Noonan decided to reward poor performances with starts. In trying to make up for that, we got ravished and deservedly so. I thought the days of us going to good sides bearing gifts had gone. Apparently not. Draw a line under it and move on. Beat Brighton next week and all is forgotten, especially as victory means we'd have taken more points against Bournemouth and Brighton, 3 in brackets, in the second half of the season, and the first half, 2 in brackets. So that's fair. Good way of looking at it, Christian. I like that. So Alex, embarrassing, not a single Forest player put in anything more than a 4 out of 10, and that's a major problem. Useless in front of goal, useless at defending, and they don't usually breed positive results. Forest fan family, fair play to Bournemouth. They always do this to us, and right on fire. If we are going to have some slip ups in our season, better to get them all done in one game and only lose 3 points than to spread the chaos across a number of games and lose more points. Nuno's got to reassert his control and go again. Rob, I think the manager was right. The first goal was key yesterday, and once they got it, they were the better than us. And it's not like we didn't have chances, but Milenkovic had a second half. They go make it 2, and then the gaps start to appear, and they were clinical. Sarah, bad day at the office. Bournemouth, good side. We just wasn't at it today. Need to come back stronger next week. Great to see supporters and players clapping each other at the end of the game. Still third. Rimmel, Southampton exposed us last week in the second half, and Bournemouth have hammered us in the second half today. I think we need to reset before Brighton, or we'll lose that one as well. Stuart Clarkson, if we reflect and do something about it, maybe it'll be good for us. Emma, gave them too much respect. In reality, could have been more. Dust down, reflect, and more. Move on, ready for Brighton. Cannot give players like Clivert all that space. Mark Baker, that was embarrassing. Nuno got it so wrong, but hopefully a kick up the backside. We definitely need a striker, winger, and centre mid, but also both fullbacks look leggy and need a rest. Jota managed one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Reese, one of the first times this season we looked rudderless, no leader, no game plan, to a man terrible, but some an awful lot worse than others. To drop Dominguez for Yates after his cameo last week was absolutely mind-boggling, but I'm sure he will get defended by some and play it again. Tom Newton, let's just consign everything of yesterday's to the bin. Second best all over the park. Too many players having an off day. Once you do that at this level, you're going to be unduly punished, but let's not take everything away that Bournemouth are well coached and a top football inside. And then last but no means least, because I'm not going to go through them all, we've got loads, keeping us in function. Huge credit to Bournemouth. We've overperformed hugely this season. These days will happen. The players have looked tired since Liverpool. Squad depth partly explains what happened. A silver lining may be that Mr. Marinakis released the purse strings for a CDM and a wide forward or winger. Some interesting guys. I did want to just put a question to you all about some players that people are asking for in terms of position wise, because of the jump we've made where we signed the likes of, it's going to sound like I'm digging people out, Reese, but we signed like Jota and Sosa to potentially get us into like that mid-table where we wanted to come between like 14th and 10th maybe and battle it out with the likes of Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, Wolves, where we thought those sort of teams were going to be. Because we've jumped, have those players suddenly become like bad overnight or what? Or is it because the expectations have changed and everything else? Because I feel really sorry for him. I feel like Sosa's not getting the opportunities. Jota is now a worse player than he was when he wasn't playing, and etc. etc. And I just think it's a little harsh, but I kind of get it as well.
Not come bad players, have they? Because they played at Premier League level, so they must be half decent. But I've always thought, and I loved early days Jota when he come on, the impact he had. But I always thought he was an impact sub. I'd never really seen him as a starter. I mean, I would have started Sousa yesterday because, like you said, Adam, it would have made sense to me personally that we kept Aina and Alanga on that side, who obviously got that chemistry what they've had all season. And you've got Nico and Sousa on the other side, like we had at Everton, which worked perfect. Because as well, you're taking that. I don't know whether Nuno did that because he thought he maybe could put our best winger against a centre mid playing right back who he got carded. And it was a typical kind of them, wasn't it? Forest way of, we've got him on a card and we didn't really attack him enough. But that is testament to Bournemouth as well, because they didn't really, because they could control the game. But we seem to do that a lot, don't we? Get him got Cook on a card, and then it's like, right, that's where we've got to smell blood there and think, get at him, because he's a centre mid playing there, and he does like to foul folk, as I saw last week at Newcastle. So, yeah, you're probably right. I think Jota and Sousa are always brought in as backups, and Alanga and Hudson-Odoi are our two out-and-out wingers. I did say in the summer, and I've said it repeatedly on this pod, that I thought we'd go for a left-footed right wing, and I still think that's something we need. Obviously, Marcus Edwards has been touted around by other clubs. Whether or not he'd be at the level, I don't know. It is a tough window to operate in January, isn't it? Not a lot of clubs are doing a lot of business. So, and as well, if you have got someone who's really good, like we're being linked with Visso and Kuna, these clubs are going to want top dollar to sell in the middle of the season. And we, I know Marinakis is ambitious and that, but we've also got PSR to look at, and you can't go, unfortunately, say, yeah, we'll just give you 100 million because there is rules and regulations. So I think yesterday might have been a bit of not a wake-up call, but a bit of a reminder to the board, etc., that and Marinakis, and we haven't got a lot of options off the bench at the minute who are giving us, in terms of an attacking sense, who can change a game. You know what I mean? Tyro's obviously had his issues all season. Jota is, he's an impact sub at best at the minute. I don't think like people are. I heard, on another podcast about Sousa's not being ready yet. Well, what is he? Sousa 24, 25? He's not like he's a young kid, is he? So, I know he's come to a different country and stuff, and he's probably got a bed in a bit, but you'd think maybe 6 months into a season, you need him to be ready, really. So yeah, maybe one or two enforcement. We don't need, I've said this all along in January, we don't need to go overboard, but just one or two little tweaks, just maybe a striker, this left-footed right winger. I know Danny, who we had on the pod, mentioned a number 6, because to me, still, it doesn't seem that Sangare is close. Well, I don't think Danilo was on the bench again, was he, yesterday? So them two are still a bit off it to say we're coming now towards February. But one thing we don't want to do is panic buy, just buy people for the sake of it. So, that, like I've said before, we trust the board. The recruitment's been brilliant this season, and we'll see what we can do. But hopefully we can get just maybe a couple in, just give Nuno some reinforcements in attacking areas. But that would be nice, because I said this to you and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I said this to you in the group before the game. Hudson-Odoi was a massive miss yesterday, because I just didn't think we looked balanced all afternoon without him, because you know what you're going to get from Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, and you're going to get a disciplined performance as well. And I don't think Jota quite has that Nuno discipline in him. It's a bit erratic at times. And you saw that when, he chucked himself on the floor and the referee brought it after a couple of minutes. And I thought, when Kirkez hardly touched him, I thought, is that the day, kind of the afternoon we're going to be in for? So, you know what you're going to get from Alanga and Hudson-Odoi, and missing Hudson-Odoi yesterday, I thought was a massive miss personally.
Yeah, I mean, Reece 2.0 actually said in my group chat that if he didn't trust Sousa and then he didn't really think Jota was up to it, they maybe should have maybe shipped out Dominguez or Anderson to play wide. But then, like, you put in round pegs in square holes or whatever, or however you want to call
and
it.
With how well
setting...
Anderson especially has done in centre mid, you know, and Dominguez as well until yesterday, you know, like everyone is poor yesterday. But I've said this before, Dominguez isn't a winger for me, and Anderson's been superb in centre mid. I mean, I would have chose Jota, but that's opinions in football, isn't it? You know, that's why we obviously do this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you about Callum Hudson-Odoi, because not only is he a terrific player going forward, but he keeps the ball. He doesn't really give it away very often. So if he's going to go down a bit of a dark alley, he will turn back and just keep the ball. And that's something that I think goes a little bit under the radar, to be honest, and whatnot. Lee, have you got anything to add? Because I just think, like, if we was a couple of places down, say if we're at mid-table, and you can give the opportunity to Jota and Sosa and get them into the actual squad and get them playing, then I think we're having a completely different conversation. But because we're so high up in the league, everyone's like, "Oh, they're rubbish. They're not good enough," and blah blah blah. And it just creates chaos on social media. I feel like, you know, getting us to the position we're in has just caused more grief than it has especially when we lose more so than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly right now they're good enough that we're a team that's massively overachieving. We're massively punching above our weight. What I would say is, if it gets to the summer and we do qualify for a European competition, then the whole good enough statement becomes, you know, the bar gets higher. So there's another argument then. So I get what people are saying to a certain degree, to give those people who are using terms like not good enough. If we get into Europe, will the likes of Sosa and Jota Silva be good enough for a squad that, because let's face it, we'll need to use our squad more in Europe, won't we? Because we'll play more matches. So the players who are coming into you look at Villa as a prime example. When they take Watkins out, they've got Duran coming in. You can't say that about us at the minute, because we're not a team that qualifies for Europe on a regular basis yet. So it'll come with time, but getting a squad that's, you know, up for that sort of requirement, playing in Europe Thursday, Sunday, that sort of stuff, we're not going to be there yet, because we're not in Europe yet. So the players that are coming off the bench are going to be of lesser quality. What I would say is, if Sosa's a weird one, because like Reece has just said, he's what, 24, 25? If we didn't think he was good enough to... Yesterday was a perfect time for him to play, surely. If Hudson-Odoi's not... He did well in the cup against albeit a team from a lower division, but I don't know, when is he gonna play? And then I'd come on to why did we sign him if we're not going to use him when a player like Hudson-Odoi is out injured? I don't really understand it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel like I've answered a question as such there, but I do think I would like to see at least one attacker come in. But like Reece has just said, I'd rather we didn't panic and just think, oh, sod it, we'll get anyone in, because it already appears that we've got two wingers that Nuno doesn't really rate that much. So yeah, I'd like to see if it's just going to be one attacking player. I'd actually like to see us spend some decent money on him if it's possible in January, because I do appreciate it's a difficult window to operate in.
Someone did mention on Twitter, and it was something that said on the summer as well, because there's obviously been a couple of links that Sousa, I think it was Vasco da Gama, wanted it in Brazil, but he obviously wants to stay in Europe. I don't think Jota can go on loan to somebody else, because he's already played for two teams.
He'd have to go back to Victoria, wouldn't he?
Yeah. So that obviously, so that looks like he's going to be staying for the rest of the season. So if we do get a winger in, another winger, I wonder if maybe they might let Sousa go on loan to Olympiacos. I'm just surmising, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, we move on anyway. We've got Brighton next week. I've got Joe from the RBN Obsessed podcast to come on, and they stuck the gaff out by losing to Everton at home 1-0, I believe it was, or was it at Goodison? I can't remember now. I've not properly looked at all the results. But
yeah, Max.
So yeah, they're going to be wanting to bounce back, and generally it's a good game between ourselves and Brighton, and it's a game where we need to now write this one off, and we focus all of our energy into getting a result against them and getting back on the horses, as you call it, because we were more than capable of beating them on our day, and hopefully that means Hudson-Odoi will back, because we've gave him that extra week to recover. But I know groin injuries can be tricky. But I do think we need reinforcements up front. We do need them in the centre of the park. I mean, the fact that we've not used James Ward-Prowse again is still a little bit criminal in my eyes. I mean, 400 plus games, and you can't buy that experience sometimes. Like, I just feel like I feel so sorry for him as well, because it started off so well, and then since that sending off against Chelsea, he's become the complete forgotten man, and he's like taking up a space that.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of that is a little bit of an issue, isn't it? Because he's taking up a space, and you're thinking, like Danny mentioned about getting a quality number 6 in it. If Douglas Luiz was available, you'd flip him for Ward-Prowse every day of the week, wouldn't you? Let's be honest. Yeah. If that was a deal that could be done on loan, and that would be a quality signing. So it's just a shame he's not really getting a go at all. But that's a testament to Anderson and obviously Dominguez and Yates, who keep them out.
I actually, just to come in on that, I actually think starting there's an argument to start Ward-Prowse against Brighton, just because we've just been battered 5-0. And like I said earlier, you've got to question the mentality and the leadership that's in that dressing room. Well, one thing that James Ward-Prowse will definitely bring is that leadership responsibility. He's captain Southampton for God knows how long. So, I think I'm not saying that he's going to make loads of difference, but I just think he might be the ideal sort of player to slot in there. But again, it's who you take out, isn't it? You're not going to drop Anderson, and then it'd probably be harsh to take Dominguez or Yates out, I guess. So, based on what they've done over the course of the season, of course. So, it's a bit of a conundrum because, like Reece has just said, it is a bit of a waste of a space where we could potentially go and get another loan player from the Prem, I guess. But one for Nuno, I guess.
I'm going to probably get a lot of slander on this, and I know Ryan Yates is club captain, but he's starting over James Ward-Prowse, and I just think, like, if you say that to a fan from every single team in the league, James Ward-Prowse is not starting over Ryan Yates, people go, "What are you doing?" And I think Yates has had a brilliant season, but I just feel so sorry for Ward-Prowse, because he's probably come and gone. I'm going to get loads of minutes at Forest. They need someone experienced in there. I've got a lot to offer, especially from set pieces. And he's just been completely forgotten, and I feel so sorry for him. I know there's shouldn't be the Ward-Prowse show.
I know, but
is he become better because he's not playing?
Yeah, I think he has, mate. Because in the moments he has played, I don't think he's shown enough. And I know I get what you're saying, and take away the set pieces because we all know he's one of the best at set pieces. Has he shown enough as an all-round centre mid in the games he's played? I know he's been limited, and the answer is probably no. So that is why he is 4th choice. The manager's got him down as 4th choice. I think, like, what I do agree with you, Adam, is it just seems a bit of a waste that he's kind of sat there, isn't it? And like Leisha said, is it going to be a point where, Yates and Dominguez have both had pretty poor games yesterday, as there's everybody, and Nuno thinks, right, here's a chance, James, show us what you've got. But it doesn't seem to kind of be happening, does it? So
you might be surprised to hear this as well, but I kind of disagree with you as well, Adam, because I think in context, you've got to, what you've said is right. It probably would be mental to every other fan who supports other clubs and looks at our squad with, like, rose tinted glasses, if you like. But I think you've got to judge a player on what they've done for Forest. And I think, as much as it's forever going to be debate among fan base, some prefer Dominguez, some prefer Yates, but you can't deny that Ryan Yates has achieved great things at Forest. Ultimately, he's helped us win promotion, and he's helped us survive in the Premier League 2 years running. So, based on what they've both done for Forest, I tend to go back to the point Reece has made. We probably expected a little bit more from Ward-Prowse. But again, at the same time, I agree with you to the sense I do feel a little bit sorry for him, because he's kind of not getting any minutes at all, is he? Which does feel like a bit of a shame.
The thing is, like, you look at Dominguez, when he come into the team, he took his opportunity. Now, can you say with the minutes that Ward-Prowse has played, has he really took an opportunity? I wouldn't say he has, personally. I just think it's a bit. I know I've said a couple of pods ago about keeping his squad together, and it's been reported in The Athletic how good an influence he is, and he probably is, like Lee said, a leader in the dressing room. It's just such a bit of a waste, really, I guess. But he might get a chance on Saturday. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I don't don't know where I see Danilo and Sangare coming back into this situation. Like you said, Reece, Danilo weren't back on the bench yesterday. Neither was Sangare, though they've both been in training and everything. Obviously, they're going to probably play against Exeter in some capacity, I'd like to think. But Exeter's not going to get them up to the scratch of playing in the Premier League football game at the moment, especially with the fixtures we've got to come with Brighton next week. Then you've got a run of Fulham, Newcastle, Man City, and Arsenal, not in that particular order, but we've got all them games coming up. So it's a difficult one. But we'll touch on Brighton before we do a bit more of a happy ending in the birthday spread, because we know we all love that, especially live on air. Lee, I'm going to ask you about Brighton. What do you think about it? Are you making any wholesale changes? What are you thinking?
No wholesale changes, I don't think. It'd be nice if Hudson-Odoi was fit. Possibly a nice fixture after losing 5-0. And I don't want that to come back to bite me, of course. They've had a bad result yesterday. So, yeah, I think there's worse fixtures we could have. I mean, if we had bloody City or something next, you'd be kind of fearing the worst, wouldn't you? But, yeah, I think it's a nice fixture. I don't think we'll change any sort of approach, especially at home. I think I said a couple of pods ago that I think Nuno likes his 4-2-3-1 at home, so I don't see us veering away from that. And I don't think he'll make wholesale changes. I think, if anything, he might potentially switch Dominguez and Yates around again. He might potentially play Sosa instead of Jota, but I wouldn't imagine there'd be any other changes, really. I think, like I say, I don't see the need to panic. Yeah, we've lost the game of football 5-0, which is never ideal, and there's always a little... There's bound to be a bloody reaction to losing 5-0. I think if we'd lost 2-0 and everyone was going OTT, you could, say it was, But I don't know. I just don't see that. We've not become a bad side all of a sudden because we've lost one game and got battered in it. I just think it's one of those days. I actually think it's a good thing we've probably not got a midweek game because it gives us a chance to get everyone rested, everyone, fit and healthy again. Good, honest week on the training ground, and then go again and hopefully get 3 points and everyone can forget about the dreaded 5-0 at Bournemouth.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. Reece, anything different to say on that?
Yeah, we mentioned earlier about obviously what might have been said after the game. To me, Nuno's probably the type of manager to say, look, we'll chat about it Monday morning, because Lewis McGugan said this on Forest Focus. At a time, things can get said emotionally, what probably you regret the morning after. So I think Nuno's the type of calm manager to say, look, we'll analyse it Monday morning or whenever it is, and we'll see what went wrong. And then, like Lee just said, we've got a 4 weeks training ahead in terms of preparing for Brighton. I guess it's just like from a fan selfishness when you think if we've got a game Tuesday night, we don't have to stew on it for a week. But like Nuno said, it's good that we're back at home. We're against a side who are very indifferent in terms of form. They're very win 1 week. I think they beat Man United, won it last week, lose at home to Everton. I'd imagine they're going to be on the front foot because that's the style they play. I'd imagine they're going to have a high line, which we hopefully Hudson-Odoi's back, we can exploit. And it's a game on paper which you think, yeah, Brighton at home, we'll take that to try and get back on the horse, as you said, Adam, because it's not like we've got Newcastle coming to town or Arsenal or Liverpool, you know what I mean? It's a side who's below us. It's a side who's inconsistent. So, yeah, I like it. There won't be massive wholesale changes for me. I mean, I think the back five pretty solid. I think that's pretty solid. I mean, I'd expect probably Dominguez to probably drop back in, or if he does give a game for Ward-Prowse. And then the only other change I'd expect, if Hudson-Odoi's fit, he'll come back in. If not, I probably agree with Lee. I think he might try Sosa and give him a shot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next Saturday already, to be honest. And I think it's a game where I think we can definitely get back on the horse, Adam.
I actually think, yeah, I have a prediction before I jump in.
I'm going to go for a 1-0. 1-0 to Forest.
Lee, prediction for yourself as well?
I'll go... I'm going to go for another 3-2 Forest. Goal fest.
For goodness sake.
You goals at home to Brighton, don't we? Was it 3-1
first
season? 3-2 last
yeah.
season?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I really don't need that for my blood pressure, especially because I'm watching it before I go to work. But
And in
I
true
think
Forest style, we'll go 3-0 up again as well.
why?
Yeah.
Like, just
10
why?
minutes go 3-0 up.
Nuno reiterated in his post match with Colin Frey that it's 7 goals conceded in a row now, and he could tell he was fuming, like, because it's just that's not within his nature. And I think the loss is in a sense quite good, because as a fan base, I don't think we'd be that up for Brighton. Although there has been a bit, like last season, they really gave it the fist pumps and everything in front of their fans with De Zerbi, because I think they were in a bit of an injury crisis and they beat us, didn't they?
Yeah, it was.
When they beat us 3-2. So I think actually it's quite good in terms of for the crowd, because I think we'll get behind the team again and say right, they need us because we had a honking result last week. So I think it lends itself to be quite a good atmosphere. I think we'll beat Brighton 2-1. I just think that they're too inconsistent. Hertzler kind of doesn't know whether he's coming or going sometimes, and I'm sure I'll speak this more with Joe when he comes on the pod to give us some more insight of how their season's gone so far. So yeah, I think there's always been goals amongst us and Brighton. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I think so.
I think just to wrap it up as well, Adam, like there's been a bit of a talk like the last 4 games where, like you just said, we've conceded 7 in a row, and it's the last 4 games have been a tiny little bit of a blip in terms that we probably, at Wolves we conceded a lot of chances, Liverpool we conceded a lot of chances. We know how the Southampton game went, and obviously yesterday, but we've still got 7 points out of 12 from the last 4. And probably what happened yesterday was that kind of bit of luck's come to an end, and we've took a hide in. So that will now give Nuno the chance to kick him up the backside and say, look, we have got away with it last week against Southampton, but we still won the game. But today we haven't got away with it. Now we need to, start another run again. And that hopefully that can just knock that complacency out of the way, because, like people have been saying on social media, what is it? 1 loss in 10? It's not bad, is it? I mean, just to remind the old fans as well, and Lee will remember this, I think 94, 95 season around that time. What was it? 26 unbeaten, I think, Lee. And then we went to Blackburn and lost 7-0.
Lost 7-0. They beat us 7-0 and 5-0 in the same season.
Yeah. So all good things come to an end, but it's just about how you react from it.
7-0 and 5-0. That is absolutely
it was either
ridiculous.
5-0 or 5-1. I'm not sure now whether we scored in the home game. I remember going to it. It was definitely the same season though.
That's the season they won the league, wasn't it?
Probably.
Shearer and Sutton up front.
Shearer,
so
yeah.
And Sherwood, Ben Zidane.
Yeah. Well, to at least wrap the pod off in some sort of positive fashion, we are going to do the birthday spread, as we all love and know on this podcast, stolen from our friends at TalkSPORT in a sense. Reece Lane, take it away.
Yeah, take it away. So basically, this is 10 Forest birthdays of this. So this will be the age this year of former players, etc. Adam and Lee will take it in turns to guess their age. Obviously, unless they've read this website, I get them all. There'll be a margin of error that builds, and whoever's got the less at the end, obviously wins. So these are all the players that didn't make the cut. So I've made a bit. So I'll rattle through these quickly. So Chris O'Grady, Wes Morgan, Guy Moussi, Gregor Robertson. Friends of the pod, these Alan Rogers and Nicky Southall, and then we've got Richie Larea, Greg Cunningham, John Bostock, Kevin James, Brendan Maloney, Daryl Powell, Lee Tomlin, Aaron Chabola, Elliot Ward, Joe Worrell, and then on to more of the legends talk. Stan Collymore, obviously the great John Robertson, and also Ian Storey-Moore. So happy birthday to all of them. But they didn't make the cut. So I've got the 10 that did. So are you still the reigning champion, Adam, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, he beat me last time.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to go first or second?
I will let Lee Clark go first.
Okay, right then, Lee. So you're first up. So birthday number 1, Arvin Apaya.
Oh, God. I don't think he's 30 yet. I'll go for 27.
Okay, Adam.
I think he's way younger. I think he's 24.
24 is spot on.
We sold him at like 18.
Yeah.
He
Any
was
idea
at
where he's
Almeria,
at?
wasn't he?
He's not there.
No, I
anymore.
don't know.
So he's on loan in Portugal with Nacional. Yeah.
What I mean,
What a shame.
you got to give credit to the club. We sold him from like one appearance for 8 million quid. That is
Yeah.
unbelievable business.
It's just a shame. I think he obviously needed to stay with us for his career, didn't he? Probably Ollie Burt was the exact same,
We've had a
when we
few
sold
like
him
that,
to
haven't we?
right back. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. So first 3-0 to Lee. So number 2. So this is you, Adam, the Lord, Nicholas Bentner.
Oh yeah, what a boy! Wonder what he's up to these days. He was a bit of an
I
extravagant
think he's
character.
retired now.
35, I'll say Lord Bentner is this
35,
year.
Lee.
I've got a sneaky feeling he's my age, so I'm going to go 37.
37 is spot on. So
I think I remember that from when we signed him. I couldn't believe he was only my age.
Read the paper. So it's Adam 2, Lee 3. So moving on to birthday number 3, former player and former manager, Colin Calderwood.
Colin Calderwood. I'm going to go for 61.
61, Adam.
I'm going to say 57.
He's 60.
Ooh.
So he's 6. So that puts you on to 4, Lee, and Adam on to 5. So Lee's in the lead by 1 after 3. So on to number 4. And number 4 is Alex Milosevic.
This is me, isn't it now?
It's you, Adam. And any ideas?
I mean, he didn't get enough of a chance either. I remember I seen the goal that from the. I don't know if we posted it or someone posted it. That volley he scored against Middlesbrough. I think it was. That was a great goal. I think he's 32.
32, Lee.
Oh, I think he's older than that. 34.
He's 33.
Oh,
so you one either side. So Lee on to 5. Lee on to 5. Adam on to 6. Any ideas where he's playing nowadays?
He's back at. Isn't he back where it started? That AIK.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen his name pop
Sweden. Yeah.
Right then. So birthday number 5. So this is Lee and one of Lee's favourite ever players, Sammy Klingen.
Oh my God.
The crab.
The crab, as you called him. Early days of the pod, that.
Sammy Klingen.
Yeah, but these are the things you have to remember with the podcast because they're funny. Like, I'm disappointed we didn't have a Christian hot head today, Reese, to be honest.
I think we had that in the group yesterday.
I'm going to go for. I'll go bang on 40.
Bang on 40. Adam?
Oh, the crab is. I think he's older, and I'm going to go 43.
He's 41. So it's very tight, this game is. So Adam, you're on 8, Lee on 6 at halfway stage. So some decent scoring. So on to birthday number 6, and another one of Lee's favourite players because he had him on back of his shirt, Jonathan Greenan. Manager of Scarborough.
Away for that.
Manager of Scarborough Athletic in the National North.
I'm going to say all the 4s, 44.
44, Lee. You should get this one right.
Jonathan Greenan.
Also,
I think
45.
45. Yeah. Oh, you 1 out. He's 46. So Adam, you 2 out onto 10, and Lee, you 1 out onto 7. Yeah, my missus met Jonathan Green on a flight. I can't remember where. I think it was America. She was going. Yeah, sat behind her, and all his mates.
I can trump you there, Reese, with Jonathan Green's story. A lad I lived with at uni went out with Jonathan Green's sister.
Oh, okay. That's that. I'm a bit of judge of that. Who's is better?
Yeah.
Number 7. One of these, I'd say, streets will never forget for his players. Ryan Mendes. So this is you. This is you, Lee.
I wonder if he's still playing.
He is still playing.
I think he is.
So
he's all right.
So he's playing for the side who are top of the second division in Turkey.
I'm going to go for 33.
33, Adam.
Is he Cape Verdean, wasn't he?
He is.
Yeah. I quite liked Ryan Mendes, but he like Elanga's like a Premier League version of him where you just get frustrated with him sometimes. 35.
35 is spot on.
Go
So you're
on, the
on
boy.
10, Adam, and you're on 9, Lee. So 3 to play, 1 in it. So these are all pretty recent as well, the last 3. Because I always like our banter eras of random players. So number 8, who's a very much loved left back, Yuri Ribeiro. So this is to you, Adam.
He was playing in Poland, but I think he's back in
He's
Portugal
not
now. Or
he is. He's back at Braga.
Right. Yeah. He was reasonably young when he come to us, so I think he's in the late 20s, 28, I would say.
Okay, Lee.
I was going to say 28. Am I allowed the same?
No.
I'll go with the other. I think he's a bit older, maybe, so I'll go 29.
He's 28. So that makes it 10-10 with
This is
two to go.
the power of going first,
So
Lee.
this is very, very good scoring. So number 9, this is to you, Lee. So our former striker, Apostolos Velios, who's now playing in Cyprus.
Velios. I think he looks older than he was when he played for us.
He's got a skinhead now.
I'm going to go for 32.
32. Adam.
33, I'm going to go for, I think.
33 spot on.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that old.
So that's 3 in a row, Adam. So you're on 10, Lee on 11. So the last birthday. So this would be an interesting one. So this is one of Lazio's now best players, Nuno Tavares.
I know he's been brilliant this season for him, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he can't be that old.
He was absolutely shocking when I went and watched him against Inter.
With the ship 6 goals. So
and he was blatantly at fault for one where he stood there and just watched Denzel Dumfries head it above him. So
I'm going to say he's 25.
Late. Well, Adam's won because having produced lots of content on Nuno Tavares in recent weeks, I know that he's 25. So, yeah, I'll have to say another number, 24.
Yeah, he is 25. So, well done, Adam. 4 in a row, yeah. So, Adam,
I was praying you weren't going to say 25.
Lee, 12. And I was literally scrambling to get a tiebreaker in case somebody knew. But, yeah, so, Adam, you reign supreme again. I think we'll do this, I think, till the end of the season, February, March, April, May, and then, yeah, we've done a season of it, then, haven't we?
I feel like we should suggest this to Fotheringham at the NAV. I think it'd be great quizzing. I'd win. No. I'd win some pints, hopefully.
No, because then I can't win the quiz then. And add to my 2 belts.
I think just to wrap it off with the whole Bournemouth thing, I think there's a few Bournemouth fans who have joined us. Craig from up the Cherries gave us some compliments and said like they were really good. Like he said, Dango was returned into the Hulk and stuff. But and I think there's another Bournemouth fan called Mark's put in. He says he loves this phrase "bad day at the office." It's been said so many times when they've beaten other sides. What I will say is Bournemouth were absolutely brilliant. Like Forest were bad, but Bournemouth just completely capitalised on it. Just to get you out, just to get it out there, Mark. Because if that's what you think this pod is, it's not that. We have gave Bournemouth plenty of credit. And I'm
sure when they lost to the worst Leicester manager in living history, according to Leicester fans, that it was a bad day at the office for them with their
I don't understand why that's taken. I don't understand why that's taken as such a negative phrase, to be fair. I think ultimately with third, it clearly was a bad day in the office. Clearly we've not been that bad. It's just a throwaway comment, like Reece has just said.
Both things can be...
Yeah.
Both things
we are on a Forest pod as well.
Yeah, of course they can.
Yeah.
I
had Iraola for manager of the season last year, guys. So, yeah. Very good manager.
I think you look at Andy Ariola's record this season against the so-called top 6, and it's been sensational. Like they beat Man City, they beat Arsenal this season at home. They smashed us. They beat Newcastle away. So we won't be the only team that will lose to Bournemouth this season. It's just a matter of fact because they do play really nice progressive football. So fair play to them. Good luck to the rest of the
shame,
season.
Really, from a neutral perspective, their game's at 3 p.m. next Saturday because that'll be a cracker against Liverpool. I think they've got Liverpool at the Vitality, I think it is. So that'd be a cracking game of football, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Just a shame it's at 3 o'clock.
That's it. yeah, so no, I give Iola is due. Like I give Bournemouth a due. I'm glad to see the back of him because they are firmly, Reece. I mean, I don't know how people didn't put Bournemouth on the nemesis list so highly up because they are top of it for teams.
They are the top, mate. Yeah. I think someone actually put in Bournemouth. To be fair, I think it was on about what you call it, one with more players, but Bournemouth are the modern day Warsaw. I'm not going to compare them in terms of size of clubs.
Can I just say as well, just before we finish, congratulations to the Bournemouth fan who's doing the rounds on Twitter who triple captained Dango yesterday. On
and he had Cliverts and Semenyo in as well, didn't he? So he got a rate.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
fair play.
Just to soften the blow.
I must admit, sorry, just to finish, I did actually put Clivert and Semenyo in my team last week after they destroyed Newcastle. I make no apologies for it, but hey ho.
I had Kirkesh and Semenyo yesterday, took Einer out because I just thought we would ship goals, but not 5. But yeah, we'll end it there. But at least we're smiling and we can enjoy the rest of our Sundays, guys. But just to wrap up, we will have a Brighton preview, in the week. We will also have our special podcast out this week with ex-manager Billy Davis coming up, as you've seen the trailer this week. Hopefully you've all seen it. If not, it's our pinned tweet on Twitter. And it's a cracker, isn't it, recently?
Yeah, it was an honour to have him on. Looking forward to everyone being able to listen to it.
Yeah, chatting about football, which is what this pod's about. So, if obviously people watching this pod, etc., this morning, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a review on iTunes, because we've still got some reviews from like 2 years ago when we dared have a bit of a moan at us losing 5-0. So it'd be nice to have some positive reviews on the pod. That's if obviously you like it.
Definitely. Until next time, enjoy your Sundays or whenever you're listening to this podcast, and we'll see you next time. Come on, you Reds.